Now let's turn our attention to Pakistan. India's broke neighbor is staying true to form. Once again, Islamabad is on the hunt for loans. It has been knocking on a number of doors. The International Monetary Fund, the Asian Development Bank, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the Islamic Trade Finance Corporation. Everywhere you look, Pakistan's finance minister is trying to strike some sort of deal. But the biggest fish he's after is Pakistan's go-to piggy bank, China. China recently deferred some of Pakistan's loan repayments, but Islamabad isn't done yet. It wants an additional $1.4 billion in loan from Beijing and even more debt rolled over. Here's our report.
Pakistan's Finance Minister Mohammad Aurangzeb has had a busy week. He was in Washington, D.C. for the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group. Islamabad secured a $7 billion IMF loan just last month. The fund also released about $1.1 billion as the first tranche of the loan. So, of course, Aurangzeb had to attend the annual meeting. He had to provide updates about how that money was being used. Now, the IMF World Bank annual meeting is like a gala for the financing world. The who's who of financial organizations drop in to visit. So, for Aurangzeb and Pakistan, that meant more potential lenders. Pakistan is in deep debt. It owes money to the IMF and other institutional lenders like the Islamic Development Bank. It owes money to commercial banks, to bilateral lenders like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and of course China. But despite this, Islamabad still doesn't have its house in order. It's still looking for more loans. And when you go through Aurangzeb's itinerary, it shows that he's been knocking on every single door. He met the Saudi Arabian finance minister, the Turkish finance minister, the Emirati finance minister, China's vice minister of finance, and even the British minister for development. He also met with the representatives of a number of institutions: the Islamic Development Bank, the Dubai Islamic Bank, the Mashreq Bank, JP Morgan. You name the institution and Aurangzeb was there. It seems most of these places weren't too interested in any fresh loan pitch. So Aurangzeb thanked them and moved on to the next mark. But once in a while, he struck gold. The Islamic Trade Financing Corporation has agreed to give Pakistan $3 billion over the next 3 years. About $269 million will be provided immediately. Then the Asian Development Bank has agreed to consider a $500 million loan. It's officially to support environmental protection in Pakistan. But let's face it, Islamabad might just use that money to address other financial concerns. The ADB is expected to take a decision on the loan tomorrow. It's not final yet, but Aurangzeb is already thanking them in anticipation. He also tried his climate cash scheme on the IMF. The IMF has already agreed to give Pakistan $7 billion. But Aurangzeb wants another billion from the IMF's Resilience and Sustainability Trust. Again, officially, this will be to help Pakistan mitigate climate risks. Let's see if the IMF bites. Now, as you can see, Pakistan's finance minister had quite the week. But he saved the best for last. This weekend, Aurangzeb presented his new plan to get more money from China. China is already Pakistan's largest bilateral lender. Beijing has lent billions to Islamabad, far more than it can afford to pay back. So how does Pakistan plan to deal with this? By taking even more money from China. Yes, Pakistan has asked for an additional $1.4 billion from China. China hasn't agreed to this yet, and it has rejected similar proposals in the past. But that hasn't stopped Pakistan from trying. It's actually targeting China with several other schemes as well, from another debt rollover to a new financing scheme. Pakistan plans to launch bonds in China's currency, the yuan. These will be issued to Chinese customers. All this goes to show that nothing has changed for Pakistan. After all that recent talk of better financial management, Islamabad is still hooked on loans. No matter how much China or the IMF pour in, it won't be enough to bring Pakistan out of the hole it has dug itself into.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.